Please don't forget subscribe to the channel and hit the bell to get notified of new daily videos.
My name is Rory Short, and I'm a history major. Last semester, I found myself in a bind. A massive midterm paper on obscure local history, due first thing the next morning. My only hope was the Blackwell Collection, the university's antiquated archives. Not many students used it. It was housed in an isolated wing of the main library, a place notorious for its labyrinthine stacks, dusty silence, and an air that always felt heavy. I'd been there since early afternoon, lost in microfiche reels and brittle newspapers, trying to piece together anything useful. My friend, Brianna Simpson, had even texted earlier, offering to bring coffee and snacks if I was still there late. I'd waved her off, figuring I'd be done by then. I lost track of time, absorbed in a particularly fascinating set of journals. The distinct chimes of the old clock tower finally broke my concentration midnight. Simultaneously, with a soft click, the overhead fluorescent lights flickered violently, then dimmed to a bare, emergency glow. The familiar hum of the building system seemed to vanish, replaced by an unnerving silence. "Closing time," I mumbled to myself, gathering my notes. But there was no announcement, no librarian making their rounds. I pushed away from the table, stretching, and made my way to the main entrance. The heavy oak door was locked, not just latched but bolted shut from the outside. I rattled it, then pounded, but only the echoing silence responded. Panic began to claw at my throat. I checked my phone, no signal naturally. It wasn't just the locked door, though. A profound chill had settled over the archives, an oppressive presence that felt far colder than the temperature. "Hello," my voice, raw with rising fear, echoed unnervingly through the tall shelves. The sound seemed to swallow itself, leaving only a greater silence. Then, from a distant aisle of massive, bound gazettes, a stack suddenly crashed to the floor. There was no wind, no tremor, just a sound that ripped through the quiet like a gunshot. My heart hammered. I wasn't alone. I started moving quickly, checking every other door I could find, emergency exits, service doors, the back entrance to the staff offices. All were locked tight. As I moved, a soft, dry whispering, like countless old pages rustling, began to follow me. It wasn't words, just sound, a chorus of forgotten voices that raised goosebumps on my arms. I risked a glance into the next aisle, and there it was. A tall, gaunt shadow, darker than the already dim lighting, seemed to be standing there, observing me. It wasn't a person. It was a figure woven from the deepest shadows and the scent of old paper and dust. Its stillness was unsettling, profound. I mentally dubbed it the Collector. It didn't move fast, but it was there, and it felt like it was absorbing the light, pulling the room's energy into itself. I tried to sneak past it, heart in my mouth, but as I crept by the end of a shelf, a loose, brittle page from an antique ledger brushed my forearm. It felt like cold parchment, and when I looked down, a small, impossibly deep cut had appeared on my skin, seeping a thick, blackish fluid instead of blood. It didn't hurt much, but it was profoundly unsettling. The archive was marking me, claiming me. The whispering intensified, surrounding me, 1,000 forgotten voices trying to tell me something, or perhaps to claim me. The Collector didn't want me to leave. It wanted me to become part of its collection, another preserved relic in its vast, silent domain. Desperation fueled my sprint. I remembered an old, rarely used emergency exit at the very back of the archives, hidden behind towering, dusty shelves of cartography. I burst through the oppressive silence, the whispering like a physical weight on my shoulders. The Collector seemed to shimmer in my peripheral vision, closer, then farther, always just there, a dark, silent sentinel. I reached the door, a heavy, rusty fire door, and slammed my weight against the bar. With a horrific screech of metal, it gave way. I burst out into the cool, liberating night air, gasping, half sobbing with relief. For a split second, I thought I was safe. Then a new dread settled in, far colder. The campus was eerily quiet, dead silent. No distant dorm chatter, no traffic hum, just the whisper of the wind through the looming, dark trees. The moon was a sliver, casting long, confusing shadows that danced and twisted. From the forest line, a deeper shadow detached itself, taller and more fluid than the Collector. This one moved with predatory grace, its shape constantly shifting, coalescing from the ambient darkness. It was vaguely bipedal, but its limbs stretched and retracted unnaturally. I knew immediately this was the hunter. It began to glide towards me, not running, but covering ground with impossible speed. I heard a low, guttural sound, like stones grinding together, emanating from it. My injured arm throbbed, the cut still bleeding that strange, dark fluid. My legs felt like lead, but I forced them to move. I ran, stumbling across the manicured lawn towards the main campus road. The hunter was gaining. I could feel its cold, empty gaze on my back, a physical chill that went bone deep, paralyzing me with fear. I stumbled again, falling to my knees on the damp grass. The hunter was almost upon me, its form now more solid, revealing glints of something sharp, like obsidian shards, within its shadowy mass. Its head tilted, as if savoring the moment. Suddenly, blinding headlights. A car screeched around the corner onto the campus road. It was Brianna's beat-up sedan. She must have seen the emergency door ajar, or perhaps just worried when I hadn't answered her texts. The headlights hit the hunter directly. It shrieked, a sound that tore through the night and my very soul, and dissipated back into the shadows of the trees with unnatural speed. Brianna was out of the car in an instant. "Rory, what the hell? Are you okay? You look like you've seen a ghost." I could only nod, shivering uncontrollably, my arm still weeping that blackish fluid. She bundled me into her car, asking a million questions, assuming I was just stressed from the paper. I tried to explain, but it sounded insane, even to my own ears. She said she saw something large move in the periphery when her lights hit. A large animal, she thought. She clearly didn't see the full horror. We drove off campus, away from the archive and the lingering shadows. The cut on my arm eventually healed, but it left a faint scar like a strange, thin bookmark. I never went back to the Blackwell Collection. The university later said the emergency door had been improperly secured and apologized. They found some strange, blackish stains in the archives, but dismissed them as old mold. I tried to believe them. But sometimes, late at night, I hear a faint, dry rustling like countless pages turning. And I feel a deep, penetrating cold, like the gaze of something that wants to collect me. I also sometimes catch a fleeting shadow at the edge of my vision that moves with unnatural speed, especially when I'm alone in the dark. I think the archive wasn't just in the university, it was of it. And I think it still wants to add me to its special collection.
If you enjoyed this video, please hit the thumbs up button to like it. And please do subscribe to support the channel.